We've liberated women to the point that they don't need men. They're given jobs we don't deserve. We're overpaid. And we're given government incentives to leave. So many women have chosen to do that. I'm guessing about a quarter of women by 2030, maybe 2035, will be doing sex work to some capacity. I think you could argue it's already that high with the rise of OnlyFans, but we all know that academia is always going to censor information that makes women look bad, because you see it in real time. Whenever I say any information that makes women look bad, the gut reaction is, one, what did the men do? And two, something that excuses the behavior. For example, if I talk about women making bad choices, what do you guys do? What does the simpery do? Oh, it's the culture's fault. Oh, it's feminism's fault. It's never the woman's individual choice. Now, what does that tell us? We actually live in a culture that doesn't shame women for doing any of these decisions. You see female single mother influencers on the right. And that's the other thing. It's interesting because everyone's trying to pretend marriage isn't dead. But even amongst conservative influencers, many have been married multiple times. Many are divorced. There's single mothers in there. So even on the right, we can't preserve it. Doesn't seem like. There's some places that are better than others, but across the board as society, it's kind of scary to think about what the future holds, because the future is going to be not what I wish it to be, but what every stat that you look at shows it's going to be. If you look at dating app stats, which is the number one way people meet under 30, if you look at the STD stats, it shows women are the ones spreading them. Small percentage of men are spreading them. It's going to be a lot of sex workers, especially if they start pulling away government benefits. Women will run to sex work. A bunch of single mothers. And women sharing men. Women are already sharing men. They may not know it or do it publicly, but it's already happening. So when we look at the future, how do you reverse an economy? Guys, 80% of consumer buying decisions are done by women. That is so much money. That is billions of dollars spent marketing and selling things to women. It's all precedented on women being single and them being able to sell stuff to them. The divorce industry is like billions. It's a huge industry. So will that be reversed anytime soon? And will we stop making these decisions, especially when the right and the left will blame everybody else but them for those decisions? I mean, when I was in high school, I tell the story of me, I threw a little shindig. I got in trouble for it. Never did my dad say, that wasn't your fault. Oh, your friends pressured you into doing this. Even though they sort of did. But no, he didn't let me. That wasn't an excuse, because I made that choice. And if the right and the left doesn't shame women, or at least tell women, or not allow women to make an excuse like I was young and dumb. No, you made those crazy choices because you wanted to. Then it'll just stay the same. So it's a little bit scary when you think about the future, because if that's what 2030 holds, what will 2040 hold?
Here's the logic of modern feminism. A woman might have to settle for low-value men, but let's face it, they're not exactly lighting her fire. If she does end up with one, it's probably because her biological clock is ticking so loudly, it's drowning out her better judgment. Since she never really fancied him anyway, it's not surprising if she cheats. After the inevitable divorce, she'll realize the dating pool is even more shallow than she thought. Thanks to modern feminism, she's on a one-way trip to no man's land, and I don't mean the fun kind with cocktails and cabanas. For the die-hard feminist who claims she's better off without a man, this is just par for the course. But for the woman who thought she could have her cake and eat it too, get ready for a future filled with boxed wine, clingy cats, a pharmacy's worth of antidepressants, and lonely nights binge-watching Sex and the City. Modern women are experiencing a profound loneliness crisis, largely attributable to the influence of modern feminism. The diminishing happiness among women can be traced to the cultural narrative perpetuated by feminism today. This movement has exaggerated the value of women, leading to unrealistically high expectations and standards. When these expectations are not met, it often results in unhappiness and depression. Modern feminism is perhaps one of the most deceptive forces in the world today, as it continuously portrays women as victims without acknowledging the rights and freedoms they already possess. The first wave of feminism, primarily the women's suffrage movement, granted women the right to vote, a fundamental privilege they had been denied until then. The rationale behind this was quite straightforward. The decisions made by elected officials impact not just men, but also women, whether politicians acknowledge it or not. Therefore, it was only fair that women have a voice in choosing their representatives. This decision proved to be a wise one, earning its place in history as a positive development. The second wave of feminism, often known as the women's liberation movement, opened up new career opportunities for women in fields that had previously been inaccessible to them. Until the early 1970s, there were certain professions like police officers, where women were rarely seen. Minorities also faced similar barriers in these occupations, which were predominantly occupied by white men. The prevailing belief was that such roles were too perilous for women. However, thanks to feminists such as Gloria Steinem, it became apparent that women were just as capable as men, if not more so in many areas. As a result, previously restricted professions began to welcome women, who not only entered but excelled in these roles, contributing to the diversity we observe in these fields today. The third wave of feminism remains largely unacknowledged, primarily because its impact has been divisive, driving a wedge between genders. While claiming to strive for gender equality, this wave of feminism often introduces obstacles where none existed before and where they are unnecessary. Modern feminism's rhetoric frequently includes disempowering men, promoting a sense of gynocentric superiority, and advocating for special privileges solely based on gender. In essence, modern feminism is often perceived as a divisive and harmful movement, seeking to empower women at the expense of disempowering men. Ironically, modern feminism often portrays the patriarchy as the epitome of evil, when in reality, it is often seen as one of the more problematic organizations in contemporary society. Modern feminists are frequently associated with seeking absolute control, which, in my view, will ultimately lead to the downfall of their movement. Many decent men are rejecting the unrealistic demands of modern feminists and choosing to distance themselves from such ideologies. Women, by many measures, are reported to be less happy, a trend often attributed to the impact of feminism. However, it's worth noting that feminism has not spoken for all women, as there have been numerous female voices opposing its agenda from the start. In some cases, feminism has been perceived as eroding women's rights concerning their children, marriages, and homes. It has also been criticized for diminishing women's sexuality and undermining laws meant to protect women's vulnerabilities. A closer look at feminists often reveals individuals who may have grown up feeling entitled and have turned into bitter adults, harboring resentment toward various aspects of society. The image of a fulfilled feminist is often portrayed as a rarity, if not an impossibility, due to the inherent nature of feminism itself. Regardless of their background or circumstances, feminists are often portrayed as finding fault and perpetually seeking reasons to be dissatisfied. The overarching narrative among them seems to be one of perpetual victimhood, insisting that women are owed everything by a supposedly oppressive patriarchy. Even when their demands are met, it is often portrayed as insufficient, leading to continued discontent. Modern-day feminists are often categorized into two main groups: those who harbor animosity toward men, often stereotyped as man-hating lesbians, and highly educated, career-driven women who prioritize success over relationships. However, as these career-focused women age, they may find themselves realizing that their biological clock is ticking, and their priorities shift towards seeking good men. Unfortunately, many of these men may have opted to remain single, viewing relationships as less appealing than the autonomy and freedom of bachelorhood. As a result, modern-day feminists may inadvertently boost the animal shelter industry and the wine market. In the near future, they may be seen alone or with fellow single feminists, at home, caring for their adopted cats, sipping boxed wines, lamenting the scarcity of eligible men, and criticizing men for their perceived inability to understand and appreciate them fully. Like many fervent social movements throughout history, modern feminism is likely to gradually lose prominence. First-wave feminism, which advocates for equal opportunities, does not contribute to this trend. However, modern feminism, which often denigrates traditional family structures, does. It encourages young women to prioritize two factors that hinder their chances of finding a suitable lifelong partner. 1. Placing career above family. Modern feminism asserts that a woman's worth is tied to her career, leading many to prioritize education and career over marriage and family. By the time they establish themselves professionally, they may struggle to find marriage-minded men, as their prime years for starting a family have passed. 2. Embracing promiscuity. Women are encouraged to believe that their sexual behavior won't impact their future marriage prospects. However, high-value men often prioritize youth, beauty, fertility, and virginity in a partner. A woman who has had multiple sexual partners may find it challenging to attract a high-value man seeking a partner with a higher perceived sexual market value. She may have the option to choose from men deemed as low value, but she finds them unappealing. If she does end up with a low-value man, it's often due to feeling pressured by her biological clock. Since she was never genuinely attracted to him, she may seek fulfillment elsewhere and may eventually cheat. After a divorce, she may find the pool of potential partners even smaller. Modern feminism in this context is leading women down a path to what can be metaphorically called no man's land, a place devoid of suitable partners. For feminists content with their independence, this might not pose an issue. However, for those who believed they could balance both independence and a relationship, the future may hold solitude filled with wine, cats, prescription antidepressants, and solitary reruns of Sex and the City. And that's it for today on Sigma Traits. Make sure you hit that like button, smash that subscribe button, and don't forget to ring that notification bell. Support this channel through membership. You can also support through PayPal link in the description. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. See you all tomorrow.